So there has been a slower adoption of cloud services and obviously cloud data storage, for instance, but I still see again a big focus in moving to that type of option. And also, again, I was speaking earlier around there seems to be more demand for type of a hybrid cloud adoption. The reason for that is obviously for focusing on data and data protection. So I think, again, privacy in the region is very similar to, again, regions across my region, which is Europe, Middle East and Africa. Privacy is the hot topic, and data protection is also the top requirement I see now from most security professionals. We focus on, again, web security, so yeah, we still do the URL filtering. Yeah. We now, on top of that, we add a layer of looking at malware, any type of malware coming in, and also we then look to protect the company's assets and their data by stopping data leaving the organisation through a web channel. We do the same, exactly the same for email, and again we can apply that for cloud and on-premise, and also for endpoint as well. So wherever your data sits, your data in motion and your data in use, we have a technology that can apply a countermeasure for that to ensure that data is protected. And what we actually do, by combining web and email, we can actually correlate those events automatically. There's no requirement as part of that to send all of your events into a SIM to do that correlation. It's done within the Websense Triton console. Central console, central management, and also central reporting as well, and central event correlation, which is important. So I see, again, more demand from real-time, more predictive requirements, so predictive analytics running within that. We have that capability as part of our Triton portfolio. Yeah, so with that we have obviously direct competition, which is good for us. It's always good to be in competition with people. From our perspective, we really only focus on the data and the web and email channels at the moment. So we are specialists in those areas. We're not trying to do everything. We're not trying to manage traffic. We're not doing deep packet inspection. We're not going after, again, the network layer. What we're looking at is more the data layer. And again, looking at threats, identifying assets, looking at vulnerabilities as well, and then again making that presentable. So we're not trying to do too many things, and that's why we are the best at what we do. We focus on a small area of focus, again, data protection, web and email security, and also mobile security as well. So the introduction of mobile devices, that now people carry around lots of data on their mobile devices, we can protect that as well. Most companies are in some cases, are very quick to bring out a product that meets that requirement, but they're not feature rich. Okay. They're not really, again, a mature product. Well, we focus on building a mature product and a product that is also built to last as well, that is highly scalable, always available, and again can protect that data. Yes, we have lots of modules. We include things like file sandboxing, so we can now analyse malware within a sandbox. And again, for us, the feature is that we can then send the same information back into Triton to help analyse and correlate the information, and also reduce any likelihood of false positives. We run things like signature and non-signature detection already. Sandboxing adds an element to that, so that's an additional module. We do things like education as well. So when somebody's about to click on a link, okay, we've perhaps deemed that as suspicious. We've already highlighted that potentially there is some threat related to that link. What we can do is we can offer real-time education for that employee. So we don't have to educate every 3 months. We don't have to educate every year as part of a security awareness program. We can do it real time. It's based on the actions of the individual, and that is actually that's been proven to be more powerful and again more absorbed within the individual. It's an action they're taking. They're not being told no. They're not being told this is how you work. It's based on their behaviours that we're changing. We're changing that, and again helping them, enabling them, and making sure that again they're aware of perhaps mistakes they're about to make, or again informing insider threats. Again, that we are watching, we are managing and monitoring what they're doing. Again, I know there's a big focus on intellectual property and building intellectual property in this region. I know that again that is a focus for most organisations and again most regions as well. We talk about GDP, we talk about the US and obviously China being the two big economic superpowers. There's other companies, there's also other countries, emerging markets, etc., that are really focused on building intelligence and intellectual property. And that's one of the issues most organisations are now facing. So governments are also telling their organisations you must protect that intellectual property. That is a core requirement of your business. If you lose your intellectual property, you pretty much cease to exist nowadays. Okay. And that's what I'm seeing again in this area. And again, focusing on the economy, building economies to scale. That's kind of what we have to focus on. That I say. I mentioned in my talk this morning, is data the new oil? Well, no, it's something completely different. But whoever has the data and the intellectual property is building these things typically has the power, and again will enable their economy to move faster as well. I mean, reputation is huge. So when I talk about security is actually security and privacy, and we're building trust into that. So trust is a combination of the two. So organisations, again, have to be trusted. Their brand needs to be recognised. If we suffer any brand damage or brand reputation loss, again, it's a financial impact to the company. And most board of directors are now seeing that. They know their brand is important. The data they process is important. Without both of those things, without privacy and without, again, the focus on the trust, their company will lose money. So that is an area we need to really focus on, building trust. Because again, I'm a customer of many organisations, of many companies that process my data. I need to make sure that I trust them with that, and that there's a valid purpose for them processing. And if I'm unhappy, that they remove my information. Yeah. Organisations, again, governments, again, looking at legislation changes around the world, governments are really focusing on pushing companies to get better at that. But that, again, all comes back to data protection. Data protection, as I said, is a critical requirement most organisations need to focus on. Many are looking at it now, or revising their strategy around data, which is great. We need to move very, very quickly, because again, changes are happening now as well. We have invested heavily in this region, focused really on, again, looking at people, bringing people in, trying to offer some education as well around what Websense do. So we obviously have people in our marketing, in sales, etc. And again, I'm also a representative of the region, so I can come in and we can hold workshops, and we can share that information that we have with our existing customers as well. So we see it again as I would say we're past the emerging market position in this region. We're kind of in the phase where we're focusing on, again, very intelligent individuals working for organisations, building businesses, again, that we also want to protect as well. So that's how we see this region.